1 week season.
Hey, and welcome in, OWS fam. So glad you guys are with us. We are back in the DFS lab, as always, a show presented by 1 week season, where we talk through a lineup, build a lineup here on the stream, use it as a way to talk through the upcoming slate on DraftKings. Looking at week 18, the final week of the 2024 NFL regular season. Again, so glad to have you guys with us. This is airing on January 2nd. So as you guys have probably already heard plenty, Happy New Year to all of you. And I'm your host, Cheeseman, and it's my pleasure to welcome up StatATL. Stat, how's it going, man? I know that last week you had said it was kind of like a different week for you. You were traveling, so didn't have as much time to put in as many lineups. So, how was week 18, or just overall thoughts on week 18? I mean, I know we certainly built a solid lineup here on stream. And then outside of that, Happy New Year, man.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. I'm traveling again this week. I am out at my in-laws. So a little different environment. I travel a lot for work and pleasure and whatnot. So I was surprised we did as many episodes from my home office as we ended up doing. It was almost half the season we got to be home. So.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I remember you saying, it's probably going to be in a different location every week. So it was quite a few in the office. But as I can see now, you got the different location. Got the nice art going on behind you there, like the art there.
It's like an old school BMW. Like my father-in-law is like an amateur race car driver. So
no way.
He's real into cars. So.
Very nice, dude. Very nice. So, I mean, how many lineups did you play last week, or did you play it at all in week 17?
I played 5, maybe 6 lineups. I didn't play a lot. A couple of smaller dollar, single entries. Really, really tight pool. Like I played 2 quarterbacks, and not surprisingly, like they were the ones that we talked about and built on stream between Baker Mayfield. I was all about that game. So it was a decent week. I think about 150%, almost 200% ROI, but my buy-in was quite low. My buy-in was like $100. So it wasn't super exciting.
My buy-in was $1. I made 3. It was 200% ROI. Yeah.
300%.
Actually, that's true. I always get that messed up. Like what 200% means, is that like double, or is that triple? Like, because it's like 100% ROI is doubling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 200%. Okay, so let's take a look at last week's lineup. Let me put this up. Yeah, man, here it was. I mean, this was, and apparently Chico Conco, I didn't realize this because I didn't watch the games, but he had there was a 60-yard touchdown that should have been for him. Yeah. I forget. Did he like drop it, or was there a penalty? Why didn't he get it?
I don't remember. Since then I've done so many.
And it was to send the game to overtime.
It was, I do remember seeing that. It was funny, just like this build in its it's perpetuity or whatever. Like, this is what we landed on, but what we built before we kind of made that last second swap was actually Baker Mayfield and either like Jalen Coker or Xavier Legette. And then we kind of said, or you could make this 1-for-1 swap and kind of go up to Thielen and then down from Baker to Bryce Young. And like this lineup, which is what we built, I think scored just over like 200.4 or something like this. This lineup scored 200 points. And had we stuck with the Baker, I think it would have scored a few more.
My word, dude.
Yeah. Solid lineup. Good to build a 200-pointer on stream. I don't think we had done it yet this season. So got us up to 7 lineups out of 16 weeks, because I think it was 1 week we didn't count the lineup because we had 2 guys that were inactive by the time we got to Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man, it's been a good season on the stream. It's definitely been fun, man. And I know that you've been busy with your playoff best ball content. I mean, just give your quick 30-second elevator pitch here. I mean, I think everyone should tune in. You're live streaming every day right now. Like, I mean, that's that's a high level of commitment there, Stat.
Yeah, we've been doing. I guess this is our third day live streaming every day at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think today we had close to 500 folks, like 470, 475 watching live and at the peak, which for me is a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a special strategy video that we will either put in the description or maybe click the link up here. Sorry, Cheese, giving you a little bit more work to do.
Right. Check it out in the top right corner.
But yeah, would love if you're interested in learning a little bit more about playoff best ball. There's a really large edge in it, in my opinion. Just people draft really poorly. Check out that strategy video and maybe join us. Myself, I'm going to have some special co-hosts. I know that Mike Johnson's going to join me one of the next upcoming days, and I might grab Hilo to join as well. Just talking playoff best ball, and I've got some good experience with it. I actually, I won the Underdogs flagship contest last season. So yeah, would love to have you join. So.
Yeah, that I listened to some of your live stream yesterday, and just it stood out to me right away what you were saying, like that some of the drafts that you are in, like a lot of times there's at least one or two lineups that are just dead, like they just don't have a chance. And this is like in a six, they're pods of six, correct? So you draft with yourself and then 5 other competitors, and your goal is to basically, your goal in round 1 is to advance out of that pod to be first out of those 6 people. So if there's even one dead lineup in that draft, then that just increases your expected value by quite a bit. And if there's 2 or 3, I mean, that's, obviously you want to probably be drafting multiple lineups and doing multiple drafts, which I'm sure you've already done, a fair number there.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I've had I've done a few of these live, live streams where I've done like 2 or 3 drafts live, during the stream, and did one that Pete G and some numbers from our Discord was in, and there was literally 4 dead lineups out of the 6, and you only and first round the top 2 teams advance. So. That basically was I'm not going to say an auto advance, but there were 4 teams out of the 6 that literally could not field a team in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Well, good stuff. Make sure to check out Stats live stream again. Like he said, it's every day at 5 p.m. Eastern until January 11th, which is when wild card kicks off. So great stuff, Stat. Well, let's look. You saw one more look. You saw the lineup from last week, put up over 200 points. So that's certainly just a fantastic run. And now let's open up week 18 here, and just kind of first I'll get into our contest and get kind of an overview of week 18 is always just. It is a very interesting week. I did see you already have Saquon Barkley being ruled out. He's not going to play this weekend. So Philly is going to rest some people. You will probably have, potentially some more of that as we get closer to, Sunday, obviously. But right now, I'll just tell you kind of like what I'm kind of like a game environment or kind of something that stands out to me initially. And I mean, first of all, I think that Baker Mayfield, he's expensive, but I think that there is some buzz that he is starting to get with all the incentives in his contract for top 10 finishes and passing touchdowns, top 10 in probably passing yards or something like. There's like multiple incentives that he has that kind of is just the cherry on top of the fact that Tampa Bay also needs to win, and they're at home in a really good matchup. So, and now they're coming off a week where they put up 48 points, and there really isn't anything that's pointing to them taking this one easy. They seem to be the type of offense that will run up the score. And so it's hard not to, despite the fact that Baker's very expensive, for me, it's hard not to just want to, really look at ways to get back to Baker. I mean, outside of that, I mean, there are other teams that obviously need to win, like, the Commanders, they need to win. This Carolina-Atlanta game is another one. So those are just some initials. What kind of stands out to you so far?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably, let's say 3-4 games, maybe 3 is really the right number of that really have like playoff implications, where that teams are going to be, some teams are going to have more, it's hard to say, they're going to be really motivated, but I mean, some teams are going to be a lot more motivated than others. You take a look at one of the games in the afternoon, it's the Broncos and the Chiefs. The Chiefs have come out and said, hey, we're going to be resting our starters. Patrick Mahomes not going to play. We're probably not going to play Pacheco or Hans. I would expect Kelsey not to play. They'll sit some defensive players because it doesn't mean anything. They win or lose, they're the 1 seed. They're getting a bye. And their opponent in the Broncos has to win to make the playoffs. So, there is some major different motivation. Obviously, you hit on the Bucs and the Saints. Like, the Bucs need to win to make the playoffs and win the division. If they were to stumble and Atlanta were to win, Atlanta would get that number 4 seed. And they're playing at the same time. So Atlanta, who's like a 9 or 10 point favorite, also has like a 28-point team total. Like, that's an environment where I think we really should lean into on one side of the ball as well. So yeah, I mean, I really like the Falcons side of the ball. I really like the Bucs, just like you. And then there's a couple of game environments with some situations where we know teams that don't really have a lot to play for are going to be, resting their starters, which again, opens up some additional, opportunities, whether it's the Chiefs or, like the Rams have basically said, hey, I don't think Kyron Williams is going to see much action, if any at all. So Blake Corum becomes like really intriguing. So it's a little bit, week 18 is a little bit of a balance between building some rosters with guys or teams that have, we'll say, extra motivation, where it's kind of win or, go home. And then you've got some guys that are just going to see expanded workload. So I think this week is just kind of balancing that. And that's what makes this week's slate intriguing and different to me.
Yep, absolutely, man. I just pulled up the price for Blake Corum, 5,600. I mean, it's like DraftKings anticipated this correctly, because I was expecting to see him, under 5K, maybe even close to 4K, but that is not to be had. So, all right, dude. Well, where do you want to start this build?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a spot that really stood out to both of us, and obviously we haven't really chatted prior to this stream, but in the 12 minutes we've been talking, it seems like we're both pretty high on Tampa Bay. So yeah, let's start there with Baker Mayfield. And if we're gonna plug in Baker, I think basically auto click is Mike Evans. So let's just go with that correlation. Let's get that little stack in there. And then I think kind of the decision here is, do we want to add Bucky Irving to this stack? Do we want to double stack Baker and maybe bring in one of his tight ends? Do we want to run this, as a skinny stack? Do we want to run this with a bring back of somebody from New Orleans? Because New Orleans has a lot of really inexpensive pieces. So I think for today's build, let's build this as a double stack. Let's lean into trying to find a little bit of value. So let's pivot over to tight end and grab Durham at tight end for Tampa Bay, and kind of make this be a bit of a double stack. I think we could consider Bucky Irving here, but to me, there's a couple of running back positions that I really want to lean into.
Oh, yeah.
And so let's just kind of see what that affords us in terms of pricing.
Yep, absolutely, man. I mean, again, like Tampa Bay, it would not surprise me if they put up another 40 burger or more in this game. They also seem to play pretty well at home. I mean, I love Baker at home. And then that was one other thing I wanted to add, is that Mike Evans does need 85 receiving yards to tie Jerry Rice's record for 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So that definitely even gives a stronger narrative for this stack.
Yeah, I love that. So I think I generally I do like to just grab a running back or two, and I think one of them we talked through is just Blake Corum. Like, it looks like with the Rams not having a ton to play for, they're going to be the NFC West champion. So to me, this is a great spot where they basically said we're going to give Blake Corum an expanded role. This is probably a spot where he sees 15 to 20 touches. He's 5,600. He catches some passes. I like this. I like this spot for him. So let's pencil him in.
Yeah, man. Giddy up. Definitely, value going to be important here with this kind of expensive stack that we went with.
Yeah. So I think from here, let's, I think another environment just really leaning into the NFC South a little bit here is, they're playing at the same time. And I think Atlanta has to go all out on this and just kind of hope that potentially New Orleans is able to give Tampa Bay a game, maybe even potentially upset them. And so we've picked on Carolina almost every single week. We've talked about running backs against the Panthers. So let's continue to lean into that again this week. He's the most expensive he's been all year, but let's grab Bijan Robinson at 8,500.
Yeah, man. Yep. Not going to argue with that play. I mean, very strong floor, and hopefully this is the week where he can break out. And I mean, how many 30-point games has he put up this year? Just one, but he has had a 26, a 28. And obviously, we're hoping for 35, 40 would be great.
Yeah, I mean, he's continued to be involved in the offense. They've got Penix there making his third start. They are going to do everything in their power to ensure that they win this game. And, I think that is really just getting the ball in the hands of your best playmaker and your best player as many times as you can. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Robinson touch the ball 25 times again this week. So he is expensive, but I think he's got the potential for a 30 plus, even though we haven't seen it yet.
Absolutely. Awesome, dude. So that gives us 4,400 remaining per player here.
Yeah. So let's kind of go two different things here. I think since we made this a double stack, and all of the New Orleans pieces are really cheap, let's throw in a Saints pass catcher here. Just going to assume that they're playing from behind most of the way. So let's, if you don't mind, click on New Orleans and let's just kind of see what options it kind of gives us there. A 1 p.m. start.
Here we go.
So, Valdez-Scantling has been seeing more of the run, but dealing with a bit of an injury. Cedric Wilson kind of running as the wide receiver 3. You've got Austin Jr. actually kind of seeing wide receiver 2 snap counts, wide receiver 2 targets, and he's 3,100. Hasn't done a ton with it yet, but this is kind of a bet on hope. He's on the field 70% of snaps on offense. He's 3,100. If he catches a touchdown, paying off that salary probably for you. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a leap of faith here, just kind of trusting some of the numbers, and let's throw in Austin here. Kind of gives us a little bit more salary relief, and we could kind of do the same thing at defense. I think I don't want to go Saints. Couple of matchups that kind of stood out to me. I don't know that I want to pay all the way down. I have a lot of interest in the Broncos, a really strong defense, and they're going to be at home, and the Chiefs are going to basically sit most of their key starting offensive players. So I like this spot for the Broncos at 3K. So let's pencil them in here and kind of see where that leaves us. So 5,800. I think I want to exploit a team playing Jacksonville. I just kind of picking some matchups here that I want to try to continue to exploit that we've kind of done most of the year. So let's look at the Indy wide receivers at home. I don't know if I care if it's Flacco or Richardson at quarterback. And I think any of either Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce are all viable here in this spot. Pierce playing a ton of snaps, has that long, down the field upside. Had a really strong game against Jacksonville earlier in the season.
Remember that.
Went for 134 yards and a touchdown for 25 points. And has seen a couple of those. So let's throw in Alec Pierce into this lineup. Leaves us 6,600.
Okay.
If I wanted to get to Bucky Irving, what is Bucky Irving's price?
Oh, he's way more than that. 77.
77. Okay, well then we're not going to go that route. I think from here, another matchup that I do really like, let's lean into running back a little bit here. Both teams kind of eliminated from the playoffs between San Francisco and Arizona. But I liked what I saw out of Isaiah Guerendo the last few weeks. I think he's like 5,900. So let's lean into that. He plays in the late game, the 4:25 Eastern start. Gives us a little bit of salary if we wanted to come up a little bit. I think you could stay with Denver. A team I do really like the matchup for is the Green Bay Packers at home against what has been a season to forget for Chicago. So I think we could stay with for Caleb Williams. So I think we could stay with the Broncos, but I think on this build, let's lean into. I just don't think people are going to pay up for defense much this week. So let's go the Packers here on this build. And call it a day. A couple hundred left over for salary.
Yep.
But I'm happy with where we landed.
Yeah, man, absolutely. A stat. This is great stuff as always. So yeah, the lineup that we finished with, Baker, obviously leaning heavily into that Tampa Bay offense and hoping for some good results there with Baker. Mike Evans and Payne Durham, excuse me, with that stack. Then the running backs, you have Blake Corum, Bijan Robinson, Kevin Austin, kind of the bring back on the Saints, Alec Pierce at the receiver, and then Guerendo at the running back with the Packers defense. And that's what the lineup rounds out at. So stat is always good stuff, man. And yeah, dude, it has been, anything else to add for week 18? Just, final thoughts. It's been a good season, dude. It's been a very fun season here on the DFS Lab.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. 18 weeks, some solid results for building as we do this early in the week. And, hopefully we get it up to, 50% with a win this week. That would be pretty sweet. Or with a cash this week, but I've enjoyed working with you this season, and maybe we'll do it again next year. We'll have to see what the boss man has in store for us.
That's right, man. That's right. Awesome. Well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in as always. Hope to see you at the top of the leaderboards. Stat you as well, man. Continue to enjoy the playoff best ball. Remember, Stats live at 5 every day. And Stat, thanks for the time. We'll catch you next time.